check out this big old Fleetwood. Big old Class A. This is the RV's way of solving your leak problem. Just slobber some of that dyke core on there. And they want you to put more on, more on, more on. The only ones that put more on is a moron. You got to think about that. I mean, it's just not a good, obviously not a good system. If you got to keep applying this product, that tells me the product's no good. All it is like a butyl putty from what I can get. That's it. They charge like 12 bucks a tube for this junk. And then what they do is they deceive people. Dyke core deceives people to think that's the way it's supposed to be done. So they basically exploit people's ignorance, if you will, because most people don't know about roofs. They go, oh, that must be the way we got to do it. You know, you don't go around your house and redo all your windows every 3 months, do you? Of course not. Now, that tells me that the product's no good. Now, this is all delaminated. The whole roof is bad. This is a fleece back. That's what it's called. See that there? That's called fleece. But you can see just how poofy this is, right? Algae lamb. Look at that. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Why is that delaminated, right? It's because the water wicks in from other areas and it gets in there. And there may have been some fractures on here. It does look like someone tried to maybe put a coating on this thing. Coatings don't work. So, you know, you've got fractures here, here, here. Look at them. Gee whiz. You know? But you can, it's not supposed to push, it's supposed to be solid. But it's not. So we'll have to redeck this roof. You see how they slobbered all this caulking up onto the, not the caulking, the coating. And then somebody tried to put some tape on here. These are real problematic. I don't like these type of lenses. They don't have a flange. It's got just this little shelf that hooks around about the size of my finger right there. And there's a couple of screws. There's one here, probably another one there. Just a few screws. There's one. And they go in on an angle, but there's not much to flash that out or to keep it watertight. So they tend to leak quite a bit. And these, boy, these are probably the worst things I've ever seen. I hate these. I hate them because right down inside here, see if I can get this to cut this plastic. There we go. I'll show you what happens right here. If you have one of these, you really need to get these things sealed really well. I'll show you what happens. So that's how it's screwed down. So you got a leg here, there's a screw here and a screw here. That's how they're attached. But what typically happens is water gets down like inside the back there. It gets in the back of the leg right here, see? That's not even sealed. So it was sitting like this and all this water traveled down here and it rotted all this out right there. That is clearly not sealed. You got a hole right here, and this one isn't sealed either. I'm sure this is the same way. But we put boots on here, and the boots we put on, they can't leak. Even if the cap come off, it would just go back down into the holding tank. Cutting more into that cap than I'm cutting into the leg. There we go. Come on. Let me cut this thing down there. There we go. Come on. This is going to be the same way, I'm sure. Most of them are. See? Look at there. So people will seal this, but they don't seal up inside here. If you have one of these caps, squirt something right in there. Get some caulking in there. Take a knife, a butter knife, take something, and just get it mucked in all in there. Because that's where your leaks are coming from, right down inside there. You see someone went around the AC with some tape because they leak. Once those gaskets start leaking, all there is the foam gasket underneath these, and you can see just how low this sits, just crashed basically on top of the roof deck. And you can, I don't know if you can notice, but right here, it's got a little depression in there. So we're gonna end up putting a curb up here, so it'll solve that problem altogether. And also, since we have a curb, you have a bigger footprint, so it will hold, all that weight won't be sitting just on that gasket. You have all that weight are all around the curb, so it kind of distributes the weight. But any water that comes into the curb is going to get redirected. Those foam gaskets on these things should be changed every couple of years. That's what I'm told by my AC guy. And you see again, someone around this thing with some more tape. Then I also don't like these. Look at the way this is. Okay, all the water is going to get trapped right in here. Just sits right in here. And then it's going to back up when it turns to ice. But it doesn't have good flow. So we're going to elevate this as well. And then we'll have to make adjustments on these brackets. We got a sensor right here for the, that's a wind sensor for the awning. Yeah. And then same thing with these. If you have these type of antennas, which we won't be putting this one back on, but if you look, the water can get down inside there. So you really want to do, that's the inside of your coach right there. It'll go right down into the ceiling. So when water trickles down that wire and gets down that little hole right here, this little, just that tiny gap, the little droplets, it's chronic and it takes time, but it'll weep in there and then it'll leak. So you want to load this or load the inside of that boot, slap it down if you have one of those. I mean, that'll help you stave, you know, stave the roof and the roof damage for sure. They've got these all down here, and I've shown before how they don't do the same thing and water can get up and around the back side of that. But this is all right. The whole roof is all delaminated. It's even delaminated right here. Sometimes when you walk on it, you'll hear the decking crack. It's just 1/8" Luan. But like I said, this is all delamed as well. This is what the RV industry wants to stay in your back pocket. This is not a roof system. I've been doing roofs for 35 years, commercial roofs. When I saw these things put on, I was like, daggum, no wonder they leak. Our roofs would literally pass commercial building code. That's how good our roof systems are. Well, here's your roof. See, it's all rotted under there. See it? Look at this is pulled right up. You can see that hump right there. I'll come down this way a little bit, I guess, to show you. Okay, that's all delaminated. It shouldn't be like that. It's all coming up. So we'll strip all this down, and then you know, someone put tape on here. These are the common problems we run into. So people, the actual roof membrane on this one looks like it has failed, but a lot of roof systems, because you can see like right here, these cracks, see all them fractures? They're all over the place. So someone said, hey, you know, let's put a coating on it. Coatings are only designed to reflect UV light. That's it. So we also put protection on the front. When we work on these, I want to protect these as much as I can. You know, we go out of our way to make sure, you know, your coaches are protected. But getting back to the coatings, they're just designed to reflect UV light. That's it. So don't, if you think you're going to put a coating on there and it's going to solve your problems, it's not. You're going to end up putting a roof on it. Oh, this one's really bad too. All them cracks in there. See, so this roof is obviously, it's shot. It's shot. We'll end up putting a commercial roof on here. That's what we put on. It's the same, absolute same product you're going to find on an office building. You'll find it on a library. You'll find it on a hospital, a restaurant. This is really bad too. I mean, you don't even have to really open this up, but I'll do it just to show you. You don't want to do these twice. These are too expensive to do twice. Look how bad that one is. They're too expensive. Okay? See all that damage? It's all gone. It's all rotted. So, but that's our big old Excursion here. Look at the size of these cracks. Gee whiz. This is probably more damaged than probably some of the roofs. Some of the roofs that we get in here, the actual membrane seems okay. It hasn't failed too much, but we'll end up having rot issues because it'll start around your vents, it'll start around your air conditioner. Any protrusion, anytime they cut a hole, anytime they cut a hole to put something down or mount something to these, it's not the way you do a roof system. If that was the case, imagine if that was the case, that's how all you had to do is just put something down, slobber some Dicor on it. If that was the procedure in the industry, of the commercial industry rather, could you imagine how much money these big companies, big food manufacturers like Nabisco or Hershey or whoever else, I mean, and then these big plants like Shaw Industries, for instance, they're really big. Can you imagine how much money they'd save, not only on the curbs themselves, the actual curbs, but also save money on you know, getting the curbs all wrapped, because they have to be wrapped with the roofing, and then they have to be flashed back in. That's a lot, not only expense in materials, but you got labor to do it as well. Can you imagine how much money they'd save on a roof system? It doesn't work. That's why you don't do it that way. You don't do it that way. So we'll keep you posted on this. So the next step for us is we're going to get some protection on our awnings right here. We'll get all that. We're going to start stripping this thing apart. And you know, we got some rivets in here, so we're probably not going to breach this piece. That's more than likely is not going to happen. Then I'm going to get into all this down here, so we'll put another bar up on top of here, and then we'll put some insert trim in, and then what we're going to do is just make sure these are all sealed really good. You know, that's what we'll do. So it'll just be, it's just a better way to do it instead of kind of aggravating more things. It's just, you don't need to start tearing all this apart. We'll just run that extra trim up on there. But here's another hole right here. This roof is really probably, like I said, the worst roof I've seen come in here that has failed like this, you know. All right, well, that's our excursion, and we will be back with more with RV roof install video productions. I think I need to get a cameraman. I just run around with a camera. Some folks, I've seen some comments on my YouTube here, and they say, hey, you know, you should do this with your video, that with your video. I work and try to get all these components built for my guys, and then I come up here. I don't have a guy following around with me, and they're not really DIY videos. We put these videos together so folks can see what causes the damage, how to fix it the right way, and what to look for if they notice this. You may be able to pick up a tip or a trick, like in that antenna, for instance, and stop a leak. Hey, that'll help you out. Or you may see something like, even like this plumbing that I was pointing out. Hey, that may help you out, like right here, that plumbing. That trick may help you out, but these are not DIY videos. They weren't intended for that. We put them together so our customers can watch them, so they can see all the work we put into these things, because they're always asking, hey, how bad was it? What did you find? And so forth. So you can watch the video so you can see exactly the steps we take to make sure that everything is done correctly, and we addressed any problems. And I'll tell you another problem that I know. Let's see if I drop my knife over here. But I'll show you another problem that I know we're going to have on here. More than likely, I'd be surprised if it's not. Right here, see, this is just 1/8 inch plywood, right? That's all that is. Here it is. That's it. There's another one, but it's actually 0.27 mils. But right on this last ply, what plywood means is the grain on this one is going this way, and then this one's going this way, so they alternate the grain. That's how you get your strength. This is one ply, this is another ply, this is another ply down here. So that's what makes plywood, okay? Hence the plies. So that being said though, but this is real thin. So what some of these manufacturers do, see if I can do this here. I want to show you this because I noticed it on another one too, and I've noticed it before, but I'll show you. This, look at this. See how wobbly that is? That is wobbly. Can you imagine climbing up this ladder and this thing popping off on you? You know? And if you were to try to hold on, if you're, you know, a heavy person, especially if you're a heavy person, you know, you could end up tearing out some of this. So what it is, see, they got these rivets right here. There's rivets right there. See the rivets? What they did is they put rivets through 1/8 inch plywood. That's what they did. I'm going to show you that. It's not a screw. I I'd be surprised if it was a screw. On the other one we just did, it wasn't a screw, it was a rivet. But even if you put a screw through there, what's it going to hold? It's going into 1/8 inch plywood. There's no stock underneath this. You see? This is a rivet. That's what that is. I doubt that is a screw. I can't see it. But like I said, even if it is a screw, even if it is one, it's only going into 1/8 inch. There's no stock underneath there. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a piece of metal. When we redeck this, we're going to take and put a piece of metal. Yeah, it looks like it may be a screw. Yep. That looks like a screw. Looks like a screw head. But it's only going into that 1/8 inch. There's no stock under there. What we're going to do is put a piece of steel. I'll put a piece of steel from here to here. It'll sit underneath there. And then our redeck will go over it. And now it's going to get locked in. But we're going to glue that piece of steel back to the main roof. Okay? Once we get that in there, then with the next sheet, the new sheet, the fresh sheet, is going to go over that. So it'll lock it in. And it'll be glued in. Then when we put those screws in there, you'll have a big piece of steel running over here, you know, a 16 inch piece of 16 gauge steel that we put in. And I'm also going to do the same thing up there at that satellite up there. We're going to do the same thing on the feet. That's what we're going to do. So you need to have those in there, because otherwise, I mean, how is it going to hold? It's not going to hold that 1/8 inch plywood. That's nothing. And then what's underneath this is just foam. So that's what's called applied foam. Now these are really strong systems when they're put together right. They really are. But you still got to, you know, understand that even though they're strong to hold some weight down, they're not strong enough to just hold a screw that wouldn't come out. You know. So we're going to fix all that. We're going to fix all that, and you'll see how it comes along. All right, we've got this redecked. These guys are going at it while I was busy. You see all the foam? Foam. Look at all these cinder blocks. Look how strong these things are. You can see all the foam we use. Foam adhesive. So we've got all that together. We gotta wait for it to cure out, and then get the roof on it. That's where we are so far. So it's getting there. Here's the last sheet we got. So we're foaming it all up. Once we get it all foamed, we glue her down. Just trying to clean out this trough right here so it'll see better. That's a whole lot of glue. Alright, so we will show you what you may have missed. Got our protective strips all down. Obviously redecked. I think the last clip was what we were showing this piece getting glued down. So you can see all the glue that we've got on there. You can see that sheen. That's the glue, and you can see some of the string of the glue right here. See? So we glue all these down. There you go. Then we're going to roll the other side out. He's all right. We got it. That's our balance roller right there. That's what we're doing, is balancing it out. Then we'll go over it with a big heavy roller afterwards. Easy peasy. Then we're going to get the big heavy roller, and then we'll go over it with that. Now this side over here, we'll roll it back. We're going to glue it. We're going to do the same thing. And that'll get it set. See, we've got all the awnings and everything protected. And now we've got the big roller on there. We're going to crush it down. It'll be pack it tight. So we're going to roll that out. It's a 110-pound roller. So you just take your time and roll it down real nice and tight, and then we're going to obviously glue this other side right here. We'll glue this other side and roll it down. And it is hot. We got every fan in this shop. Probably need to buy more. And now what we're doing is we're using that big roller right there. That's what we're using. It's a big heavy roller, 110 pounds. That's what we were using to, you know, push this product down. That's the way it's supposed to be done. You just don't roll it out. That's what they'll do at the RV centers. They just roll out that rubber and they swash their hand over it and they think that's going to help. It doesn't. This will give a good bond. So go over that nice and slow. Keep that weight on there and get that packed down. Then what we're going to do is we're going to roll this other side. This is the passenger side. We're going to roll it over and then we're going to glue that side and do it all over again. So we still got a little bit of work ahead of us, that's for sure. But we are getting some glue on this. That's what we're doing right now. This stuff is high dollar. It really is. It's expensive glue. I think I tallied this out to be about $3.75 per 8 ounces. Yeah. So it probably mopped on at least $3 right there. But it works. And you don't have problems. Use good products. This is all GAF stuff. Everything we use is all compatible. Every bit of it. We don't use someone else's product with someone else's product like that because I don't want to have any issues. And if you keep everything compatible, everything works. That's the way it was tested. That's the way it was designed. So, all right. Now we're going to roll out the passenger side. This guy's out of uniform. He doesn't even have an RV roof install shirt. There you go. You got it? So once we get this down, then we take our balance roller and we're going to roll it out. So now what we do is we run over it with the big heavy roller. Yeah, we're going to pack her down. She's going to be ready. Here's our update so far. That's part of the satellite dish right there. So we've got obviously the roof down, as you can see. Then we've got all the curbs welded in. Get that one welded in. We put some painter's tape around there so we could put a strike of caulking. That's for an air conditioner. I've got the first strike of caulking behind this awning right here, so I'll have to get the other one on there so we can actually put. I've got standoffs that'll raise this awning. The awning came over and it was just mounted right to here. We're not going to do that. This awning is going to have standoffs where it'll at least let the water drain down into the gutter. The other thing I didn't like, and you can watch the other one, what's that one? It's the Discovery. Watch the Fleetwood Discovery and you'll see how we did it, because we're going to do the same thing, but I guess by the time you finish watching this, you'll see what we did, right? But anyhow, the way these brackets went in, they sat right into the gutter like this, which it impeded the water flow in the gutter, and then they were just kind of curved. They went straight out like this. They dipped down and then they came back out. So they had kind of a wave to them, if you will. It came out like this as it's on came off the awning, or the awning arm here, and it came off and it kind of tucked down like this. And then they just screwed it right to the roof. There's a frame inside here. And then they just slobber it with caulking. So I don't like that design. So what I did is straighten all this out here. We welded the new plate on here and onto there. And then we're going to bolt this piece to there. We're going to have that bolted. And then I'm going to put special bolts inside this awning rail. It'll go inside. And there'll be 2 bolts right through here that'll go on each opposite side to hold that. Plus, on the top side, I'll have that standoff, which will be bolted in there. So there's no way it can go anywhere. The other thing we're working on is these skylights. I really do not like these skylights, but they're expensive. This skylight has no flange. See, I can spin this around for you and show you. But it has got no flange. It's just a lid. There's no flange to it. That's where the screw goes. But normally you'll have a flange that'll come out a little bit, basically a lip, or another ledge there, if you will. You know. something that would come out like my finger like that, where you can get a sealant under there. But this here, look how thin that is. That's real thin. So, you know, I'd have to search around and try to find that lens or fabricate one, and I've done that in the past. So what we did is we fabricated up a counter flash. Obviously you can see it's inside. Then we sealed it right here. That lens will go over. You'll never see any of this at all. Even from the inside you won't see any. So then we'll seal around here. If anybody ever notices any water coming in, they know that there's a, you know, a breach somewhere in the event. Maybe it, but that's the best way we could do it. So we got all that sealed up nice and tight, and that's what this is all about. So because, like you said, I don't like that, we're going to prime it, we're going to seal it really well, but still I want to err on the side of caution, so that's why I put this on here. And then we've got our plumbing right here. We got to get our pipes in there, and then we'll put the bell caps on there. Air conditioner, like I said, there's another vent. So what I'm talking about, a flange, is this here. This flat portion is called a flange. See how we can seal under here and it'll seat nice and flat. Well, that skylight doesn't have that. So we've got the curb that I made right there for the satellite. There's your satellite right there. And then this is for an antenna. And then we've got a wind sensor for the awning right here. So all we're going to do is plate that. We're not going to hook anything up. We don't hook up any electronics like that. Even the antenna, we'll put that together and we'll send it down, but we don't hook any of that up. Especially on this satellite. I don't know much about it. Those wires may be the right wires, I don't know. But he upgraded. So I don't know what else may need to be done. But we'll put it on there, make sure it's all watertight, but then he'll have to get a tech out here, or unless he knows how to do it himself. But they'll have to hook all that up. I don't want to be responsible for hooking that up because I don't know anything about them. So if you know anything about them, just stay away from them. But that's where we are so far. And we should be able to get this thing complete here. Like I said, just a couple of air units going on, that lens and so forth, and put this together. So we're close to the end. And the only other thing I did, and I'll probably go over it yet again, is that may be different, is we've got our logo on here. And see if I can move some of this out of the way to show you. Normally the colors we carry, this is the sand or the tan. We carry white and we carry light gray. So, but really we can get roofs in any one of these colors. This color just come in, it's a dark gray, and then we got this dark bronze. That looks really well. I like that as well. So, and then you can see there's obviously our web address. And then this is the month and the year that we installed it. So now when this comes in for inspections, we can monitor to see how good or bad it's doing. You know, if we have any issues with it, we can reach out to a rep. But I've done commercial roofs for 35 years. I've never had to call a rep out to look at a roof. 99.99999% of the time, the problem is poor installation or just not prepping something properly. And that's why we take the time to make sure everything is prepped. Even when we do our caulkings and everything, everything's all primed. Primers are absolutely important on a roof system. If you don't use them, the caulk will fail. So we take the time to do all that. It's kind of tedious, but that's what has to be done. That's what this strike is right here. That's where we brought up our primer, because I've got another strike going on this thing. So that's where we are so far. We are done with this big old excursion. All right, you see we got our nice logo on here. I already showed you this. These are the new colors we got in. This is slate gray, and this is dark bronze. But these are what they call premium colors, and they come with a premium price when you buy them. That's for sure. These, the white, the tan, and the gray, these are common colors. These are standard colors, and you can see just how much darker that gray is. So we've gotten we got this one in because a lot of people ask for it because it's just a little too light. And then and the same with the brown. We never really had a brown, and we just got that in after we had already laid this whole roof. I don't know if he would have been interested in it, but I think that dark brown would have looked better on this here, you know. Well, actually dark bronze. They do have a dark brown. I'll see if I can get that in. But what we've also done is gone around and we did 2 strikes of caulking on the turn bar. 2 strikes of caulking down there. You see how nice and clean that is? That looks really good. That looks real professional. We've got all that done. Then we got 2 strikes over here as well. He's just getting a couple of booger spots with the camera. That's all he's doing. So we got 2 strikes on there. We put 2 strikes of caulking on there this is, and I'm not knocking Lexel. I think Lexel is actually a pretty good product, but here's some of the cautions. Look at all those air bubbles. That's how clear this product is. You can actually see the air bubbles in there. And the reason why we put the 2 strikes down there is you're going along, you're going to push an air bubble in there, and as you push an air bubble in, then the coach goes down the road, racking, twisting, flexing, and then that air bubble may pop. Then you got a leak or a potential leak. So, hey man, I'm doing a video, dude. There's a guy. So once we put 2 strikes on there, what are the chances to have one air bubble over another? Probably slim to none. So that's the whole scope of putting at least the 2 strikes. Now, even when we put this turn bar on here, this turn bar, this is just a flat trim, but when we put this on, there's caulking behind this as well. You can barely see it right up in there. You can see that piece there. But there's caulking up inside there as well. We use an adhesive caulk. I don't use butyl here. No butyl. This is M1. All the products we use are all Chemlink. People ask. And just on a side note, these videos we put together, you know, we try to put them together for the customers, because a lot of customers are curious of what we find, how we fixed it, and that type of thing. They really weren't designed as DIY videos. They weren't designed as any sort of tutorial at all. So I would just hate for someone to see what we do and think, oh, that's easy, and they go ahead. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we just don't show, that I couldn't possibly show. I don't have a camera guy, so I would hate for someone to try to assemble something, not know the whole details behind it, and then have something happen and go, gee whiz, they showed it on the video, this or that. So again, these are just really videos for customers. I don't mind answering a few questions if you have them, but to let you know, like in regards to the curbs, all these curbs that we build, those are all proprietary. They're proprietary to us. We don't sell them. In fact, we don't sell any products here at all. We don't sell any caulking. We don't sell anything. The product we use is all Chemlink. M1 is the adhesive caulk we use, and then there's Duralink, which you can use for the edge going there. You can use M1 as well. It's another good caulk. And then they also have another product called Metal Link that we've been working with, and we kind of like it. And I am going to probably put my foot in my mouth at this point and say, because I have advocated that I do not like silicone at all. One of the main reasons I don't like silicone is because silicone won't stick to silicone. Well, Chemlink, being the outstanding company that they are, they developed a silicone that will stick to other silicones. It'll stick to a lot of slick areas. They still need to be primed, but they're designed to stick to a lot of different roofing materials, including metal materials, TPO materials, and so is M1 and the other ones as well. But this is just a little different. It tends to, and that is what that is. That's Metal Link that we put on there, and it looks shinier, and I'm hoping it'll stay and look cleaner. That's what we found, that it just seems to look cleaner. We have the ones coming back for inspections, and they're sealed tight, but they're just dirty. So I was hoping to see if we get a better caulking to make it look cleaner, you know, for the long run. So that's all of that disclaimer nonsense. And then we got our new emblems on here. Over there, we're putting that on the back of the coach. And then you can see how we did this awning system right here. This is what I was telling you about before. We did the same thing on a Fleetwood Discovery, because it was the same exact roof system, like literally the same exact one. But with the way they designed these, this piece actually came out, went down a little bit, then came back out, had a little break in it like that, and then they mounted it to the roof, and then they put it in the gutter. And a couple of things that I didn't like, you can still see some of the butyl back on this side here, but what I didn't like is now that this is in the gutter, and that's a narrow gutter anyways, it impeded the water flow. So I straightened this out. We welded another piece on here and another piece on there, straightened it all out. And then this is a bolt that goes down into the frame, and it's all sealed, much like our boots. It's just a little boot under there that I made. Those are mini boots. And I made 11 of them that go down, 12 of them that go all the way down. And then we've got a rail that mounts to the boots with these. And then we painted these, obviously, so they look clean. And then we mounted the rail to the awning to this piece. So everything's nice and tight and sturdy. But the bigger problem that we had is when this was mounted down to the roof, you can see how close it would be to the skylight. It caused, and previously when you watched the first part of the clip, you saw how much damage there was. And that's because of all this water backing up and then turning to ice. And then when it turns to ice, it starts busting things apart. So let's give it a way out. So it's going to go down right through here. you can see it's got a nice trough. See if I can get the camera in there to show you. But you can see that I can get my fingers clearly up inside there. So that'll be enough to get the water out, but it's not so high where it's, you know, doesn't look right. But it'll be a much better fit for this. But they don't do that at the, you know, manufacturers. All they want to do is get them built, get them out, get them sold. Also around here, we showed you how we put the flashing in there. We did a couple of strikes of clear around here. I thought the clear would look better on this instead of the white, because the white wouldn't match this, wouldn't match that. The tan that they make doesn't even match that tan, so it's like way off. So these are the boots. So if anything ever happens, like in the sense of the cap gets pulled off, it's just going to go down into a holding tank right there. And then what we do is we just dress the boots out with these here. These are your caps right there. Easy peasy. Just got little springs on them. You just push them in, slide them down, and that's that. You can see we got our mounts for our air conditioner right there. And then notice how much the air conditioner sits to the forward part of the curb assembly. So the concern that we had there, when you go up underneath the frame, you can see there's like ridges and there's all sorts of profiles up underneath the underside of this air conditioner. So any water that wants to get under there is going to trickle out. Still has the gasket under there. We replaced the gasket, but the front part, when you have water coming down this way, I don't want it to roll back into that gasket, so we put a counter flash there. Let me show you what we got there. See? So we got that counter flash. I'll hit that counter flash and it'll roll out, and then it'll zip down that way. So we thought of everything on this. You don't want to do these twice. You don't want to do this twice. This is tan. This roof system's tan. It's a 60 mil GAF roof. So you can see we did the same thing. We got two stands, you know, one on each side. Just gives us some balance. Again, we get that counter flash right up in here, and that's the wind sensor right here. And then put the antenna in here. Again, sealed all that up. And then we got the satellite. We did not mount the satellite. That's obviously just the curve. You can see we didn't mount the satellite. The other thing is we made a boot for the wires right there, and that's all sealed up. But some of the concerns that we have with the satellite is wind guard. I guess they just forgot to pack the screws and the bolts and everything, so we couldn't really get it all down in there, even though we were looking for them. So we'll let him. We don't install satellites anyways. We don't install or wire them up or anything. The most we would have done is just actually mounted it. But there's plenty of stock right there. That's a solid piece right there, and they can screw it down any which way. And then earlier you saw we got metal up underneath there, and the decking goes over that. So that is like super secure. It isn't going anywhere. And went around all the lights. We went around obviously both sides of the turn bar. Got everything all clean. It looks real clean. I really like it. It looks real clean. So let's show you some of the other stuff that we got here. I'll show you a piece of this roofing here. I'll even let me go around that other side, and I'll show you the way these work. We'll probably be at an opposite. Let's see if I can squeak down there. Alright, so these are our curbs. Now, when you have water coming, well, this is the front of the coach. If you have water coming from the front of the coach, let's see if I come back a little bit. And as the water's just pushing, we get, you know, into a heavy storm, and it pushes. It's going to flow across here. Even if it wanted to come up, it's going to hit here, and it's going to get forced around. That's what this is. This is a counter flash. This is your flashing. This is your counter flashing. So some people, they say, hey, I'm going to have my roof sprayed. And on that video, we have one. It's something like, I think it's titled RV Armor Thinks, even RV Armor Thinks We're Better, or something along that line. But within 1 minute of his video on air conditioners, he admits that if it was a commercial building, it should be up on a curb with flashing and counter flashing, and that's exactly what we got here. So, but anyhow, that's how the curbs work. There's also a recession up in here that we designed. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little ledge right there. So anything that hits this is going to roll out. It can't even roll back. Obviously, all that vent and everything's double sealed. And you can see how good that caulking. I'm really impressed about how good that caulking laid. It looks real well. Let me show you some of the products. So we explained about that there. This is a 60 mil GAF product, obviously coming in white. You get them in almost any color. Some we have special order, but it comes in the white, the tan, and the gray. Those are your normal colors. Those are your everyday. We can get those colors, and then these colors, these are all special order. Those are. So there's a 60 mil structured membrane, and you can see like some of the squares in there. You see the little checker pattern like a screen? That's a mesh that's built inside there. You probably see a little whisker of that mesh way at the top here. See those whiskers? That's the mesh that's in there, and that's what gives it its strength against hail, against tree impacts, and it'll resist a lot of that. Now, even if, we'll say, we do get a hole punctured through a heavy tree branch, it really knocks a hole in it. We get some more of this material here, and we'll just do a patch, just like we did here, or even like what this is. So it wouldn't matter. We'll say the tree branch dug all the way into this, but we'd make a patch that big, right, and just weld it in, and it wouldn't affect the warranty. So let me see if I can find this other piece that I had kicking around, and I'll show you the tracks and stuff that we use. This is the typical insert trim that they use. See if you can get a close-up of that. See how it just fits in the track? It goes inside it. That's it. See, it goes in that track right there. Okay. Water can still, because it just snaps in, water can still, as it's sitting on the coach, can get down inside this track. Alright, so we don't use this. This is typical. It's just a snap in. This is another one, and if you look, see it's got some grooves on it, it looks like. Okay, the problem with it, it don't fit in the track well. It slides around. Doesn't even stay in there tight. You can just pull it right out. See? Doesn't stay in. So, here's the same piece. This is what we use. We can get this in white all day long, every day. No problem. Can't get this in black. So what I like about this is this will snap right in, and it's got that same groove, but it's bigger. See the groove there? So that channel right here is going to fit right inside there. It's going to keep all that water out. It'll just snap right in. And it'll go inside that track on the bottom side of it, and then it'll go on the top side. It'll snap right in. And this stuff is really tough, actually. It's pretty strong. There we go. Alright, so now we'll slide it down back this way so you can see what's going on. But you can see how it goes in and over. Goes on both sides. It snaps around on both sides there, see? So that's going to keep all the water out. But you can't buy this in black. Even though I have it, the reason why I have it is because it was a special order. The industry does not make this for RVs. They don't make this at all for RVs. Even though they make it in white, they don't make it in black. All special order. So we had to order a bunch of it. Like we ordered 10,000 linear feet of it. It's sitting over here on our shop. Right there. There's a whole skid of it. So that's what we had to order. But it's a better product. So when I find products that work better, I'm going to use them. Because that's just, to me, the right thing to do. If there's something better out there, as long as it's not outrageously expensive, man, no better products are going to be more money. But you know, you get what you pay for, so to speak. And what would you rather see? Would you rather see this little piece snapped in like that, even though it would look clean, the water going to get down inside that track eventually, and then you'll just have moisture collect in there, and the moisture can get around those screws and so forth, and you know, it can travel down that track to somewhere else. So, in fact, we did a hideout. It's a hideout. We had to do the rear wall on it. And if you look at that hideout, we did two actually, but if you look at one of the hideouts, it shows that there's a leak on the right and left corner, and the water was coming down this track. It was getting inside there, and it was going all the way down and rotting out the bottom portion, bottom corners of the wall. And it was a 2017 model, so it doesn't take very long. But this is a much better product because you're going to lock all that water out. Boom, boom, boom. So we just want to show you some of the products that we use, and you know, we take the trust that people put in us, we take it seriously. And we're not the quickest shop. We are not the quickest shop by no means, but we are the best shop. We want to make sure that everything is done right and methodically put together so you don't have to do this thing again. But every time you turn around, there's a twist. And that's why you say, These are not tutorials. There's a lot of things that we have to do behind the scenes that I couldn't possibly have shown. You know, we got this all sealed up underneath here. We had to clean all this off. You have to clean it with a couple of different cleaners to get all that right. You know, we had to shape up these boots here and these frames. We got all that squared away. Over in that skylight, there's that flashing that's inside that we put together. That's in case that lid leaks, just in case. It shouldn't. We sealed it up, but I don't like those lids on the skylights right there. I don't like them. But if it did leak inside there, if it breached that bead that we put around, it's not going to get inside the coach. So that's the important part. And then, you know, when this vehicle comes back for inspections, we're going to be seeing it, and we make the adjustments necessary if, in fact, it does. I mean, we only work as well as the products will let us work. And then even these boots and everything, all of these things that we did to pull this coach together, every bit of it has a rhyme and a reason. You can see all the straps, all the protective straps we put down there. We've got protective straps going down the shoulder here as well to protect the metal. So, I mean, there's so much we do to these things. I couldn't possibly video every single step and everything. It would take a long, long time. It would be a very long video for sure. So, well, we appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, you can go visit our site, rvroofinstall.com, right here. Or you can give us a call. Here's our number, 423-475-7663. We appreciate you watching. And if you'd like a sample like this one here, you're welcome to, you know, email us at contact@rvroofinstall.com, or even just call us and ask for one, and we'll mail you out one of these samples if you like to see and actually put your hands on it. But this is the same product you're going to find on a restaurant, on a library, office building, restaurant. The same exact product, same exact installation. So, thanks for watching.